Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday, November 3rd, and it is a chilly evening here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, and I would like to dedicate today's video to a common question that I've received very often in the comments sections from many of my viewers. And the comment is along the lines of, "Help, my fig tree leaves are turning yellow and they're falling off. What do I do? Is my tree sick? Is it dying?" And I wanted to explore that in detail because it's a very common question, and it is a simpler answer than a lot of people expect. Fig trees come from Mediterranean climates, and when we think of Mediterranean climates, I think a lot of us think of warm weather, beautiful dry summers, warm golden sunshine, and dark blue skies. And because people get that image when they think of fig trees in the Mediterranean, I think that they confuse that with the tropics. And when you think of a lot of tropical trees, a lot of tropical fruit trees specifically, you think of things like citrus and avocado, trees that never lose their leaves, trees that are not very freeze hardy, and they are evergreen all year round. Well, fig trees are actually from higher latitudes. Much of the Mediterranean is around a latitude of 40 degrees north, which is pretty far north when you get right down to it. So the higher you get in terms of latitude, the greater the difference is in day length between the winter and summer solstices. And in climates of high latitudes, you encounter a lot of deciduous trees because the sunlight is simply too weak in the winter to maintain that green leafy growth. Figs are actually deciduous trees. They are going to go through a period of dormancy in the mid to late fall to the early spring where they need to lose all of their leaves. So in that sense, they're just like an oak tree or a maple tree or any other deciduous tree. And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with frosts or freezes. You can be in a climate that doesn't get a lot of frosts or freezes, or you can be in a climate where your frosts and freezes are late and you start losing your leaves on your fig trees well before you actually see that frost and freeze. And that's simply because the sun is getting less intense and the days are getting shorter and the trees can no longer get enough energy to produce chlorophyll and maintain those leaves. And I think why people get so confused when it comes to fig trees being deciduous is because basically the leaves start turning a very light yellow, and then they start turning brown and shriveling up, and then they will fall off. They don't go through a deciduous pattern that we think of when we think of oak trees or maple trees. They don't turn that nice, vibrant orange or red color that we're used to seeing. So because of that, it looks like we have an evergreen tree here that starts out healthy, everything's good, and then it starts getting covered in yellow and the leaves start breaking on the tree, and they're covered in these brown spots called rust, which is typical to see this time of year. And I will make sure to link to a video above all about fig rust because I explain what it is in detail and what you should do about it and why in most cases you probably shouldn't do anything about it. But because the fig trees, they don't go through that nice vibrant orange and red phase like other deciduous trees that we're used to, a lot of people think that their tree is sick and that they're encountering some kind of disease. But no, never fear. This is simply what fig trees go through naturally. They absolutely need to go through this reset period of dormancy when they lose their leaves. They have to chill out, and they need to slowly wake up again back in the spring and then make all new green leafy growth. This is what rejuvenates them. This is what helps them fruit aggressively. So this dormancy period is absolutely critical to their vigor and their health and their fruit production the next year. So usually after I get a comment from a viewer about their fig tree turning yellow and the leaves starting to turn brown and getting rust spots, it's usually accompanied by something like, should I fertilize my tree? Should I bring it inside? Should I put it under grow lights? What should I do? Don't do anything. Let the figs lose their leaves naturally. It is absolutely critical for the health of the tree that they go through this period of dormancy. I strongly recommend that you do not fertilize them this far into the fall. It's November 3rd, so it's pretty darn late. Don't fertilize them. Don't try to trick them into sending out new green growth, because if you get frosts or freezes, that green growth is going to be damaged in the frost or freeze. We want any existing green wood at this time in the year to lignify. And lignification is simply the conversion of soft green wood into hardwood. Here you see a nice thick hardwood. This is going to be freeze hardy to around something like 15 degrees Fahrenheit wood that is this hard. It can vary from climate to climate and how quickly the cold can come in, but that's a general rule of thumb. Any green growth can get severely damaged in a freeze, so we don't want to fertilize our trees at this point in the year. We do not want any new green growth in it if you're in a climate where it does freeze, because that new green growth can get killed off. And just to give you an example of some green growth, this is my latest cutting that I rooted very late in the summer, and it still has a lot of green growth up top. If this were to see temperatures in the 20s Fahrenheit, that would probably get damaged. You can see that the tree has not fully lignified. There's still a lot of green patching on there. So there is a good chance that if we got a really hard freeze, this tree right here could get killed back all the way to about here or so, where the wood is starting to turn into a dark brown hardwood. And as you can see here, most of my fig trees have lost all of their leaves that are in containers. My container trees, the roots tend to cool down much more quickly than in ground, so we can expect them to lose their leaves before the in-ground fig trees. That is totally normal, and this is basically exactly what my fig trees should look like now. In another couple of weeks, they should be completely bare of all of their leaves. There is nothing wrong with these trees. They are as healthy can be. And this is exactly what you should expect out of your fig trees at this time of year in most climates. So if this is what you're observing with your fig trees and this sounds like your situation, I'm happy to report there is absolutely nothing that you should worry about, and this is simply just nature taking its course. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and explain that to you and clear your mind, and hopefully that'll make you feel a little bit better about your situation and have you looking forward to next year. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the products that I use in my garden, everything that I use is linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Smoked ribs and brisket. Dale, do you want something? Oh no. Dale, you have an oil leak. You're dripping. Is there something that you want? What would you like? You want some ribs? How about some brisket? No, no brisket? Just ribs. Ribs or brisket? You tell me which one. Is that both? That sounds like a both to me. Ooh, you get the burnt end, the best. Buddy, can you sit? There you go. Ah! Oh no, and now I only have 4 fingers.